Never mind.
Okay.
It's time for the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Tom Baker.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Stock Car Show. We broadcast live on the Performance Motorsports Network and Spreaker. And if you'd like to watch the show live instead of listening to it live, just go to our Race Chaser Media Facebook page and you can tune it in. You can also join the conversation that way just by typing into the comments, and we'll try and respond to as many as we can. And if you have a comment that's worthwhile enough, we might even talk about it on the air. Welcome to the show. I am Tom Baker. He is Jacob Seelman from Speed Sport Magazine. And we have, over in the tech shed, Randy Miller.
Hello.
Live on the Randy Cam. He is our producer. And we have Cisco Scaramuzza also
Hola.
live with us from the Midwest. And Cisco doing his usual double duty of co-hosting and handling the video portion of this show. We are glad to be with you. And, boy, what a show we got tonight. We've got a couple of cousins, actually. We're going to talk some modifieds later in the program. Both Justin and Kyle Bonsignor are here with us this evening, and looking forward to talking with them. They'll both be joining us via the phone. At Stafford Speedway in the fall final last week, Kyle won the battle, got the race win. Justin won the war. He clinched the season championship for the Wheel and Modified Tour.
By a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
By a
so
lot.
We're going to be talking to both Bonsignors as the show goes on. And we'll also get to what's probably a pretty controversial subject here, which is what's going on in 2020 when NASCAR and ARCA combine. The answer is we're going to kill the K&N series, and ARCA basically stays the same. But we'll get to that and our thoughts on that a little bit later in the show. I want to start. This is kind of the begin as you mean to go on, and where we mean to go on is we're going to talk NASCAR for a bit and talk about Dover, because I don't know, Jacob, I'll start with you, that I have seen a race in a long time where basically it was like you had this hot rock or something that the leaders were all passing around because nobody wanted to win. Every time you got the lead, something bad happened.
Well, it wasn't like that until inside of 100 laps to go, and that's when...
It was pretty boring till then.
Yeah, it really was. So you could basically say that Murphy's Law came into full effect specifically with Stewart-Haas Racing.
Yeah.
Because inside... I'll set the scenario up like this. Inside of 100 laps to go, I don't remember the exact lap count before the final round of pit stops started, but I know it was inside of 100 to go. The four Stewart-Haas cars, Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Clint Bowyer, and Kurt Busch, in that order, were first, second, third, and fourth.
Yes.
By the time the checkered flag waved, none of them were in the top four.
None of them.
Zero.
And even more than that, if you want to expand that out, Jacob, I was watching intervals through the day as I was watching the race. There were at least 6 or 7 Fords in the top 10 almost the entire race.
Okay, so
until that point when everything started going wrong.
Well, let's be clear here, too. When the four Stewart-Haas cars were lined up first through fourth at that point, or at least at the start of that stretch until Martin Truex started coming back, behind the four Stewart-Haas Fords were the three Penske Fords.
Yeah.
Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, I believe, in that order.
Yeah,
they were lined up, 4 SHR Fords
Yep.
and 3 Penske Fords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, before Martin Truex started coming through to break up the party a little bit. But for the longest time, it was the 4 SHR Fords. And then, as the old saying goes, if it could go wrong, it did. it started
Sure did.
on a green flag pit stop when Kevin Harvick had to come back to pit road for a loose wheel. He then lost a lap, had to make it up. Oh, sorry, not loose wheel, flat tire. Thank you, Cisco. You're right. It was a flat tire. One of the flying lug nuts knocked the valve stem out.
Yep.
Well, what happened, and they were able to show it, Jacob, is when they dropped the jack on the car, they were trying to put the lug nuts on right as the car got dropped. And so what appeared to have happened was actually the tire changer, because at that point Harvick's on the gas, because when you get the jack dropped on you, that's go.
Yes.
So Harvick's was spinning the tires. So what I believe happened was he went to put the lug nut on, and the gun actually hit the valve stem and broke it, because as they explained on the broadcast, the valve stems for your tires, my tires, Tom's tires, everybody's tires in general is going to be made out of rubber. Mm-hmm. In NASCAR, it's steel because that's dictated by the wheel. So you have a wheel that's moving, in a pretty fairly fast circle because Harvick was on it. Yeah, that plus gun equals not good.
Correct. Okay, so we knocked the valve stem out. Harvick has a flat tire, has to come back to pit road. That takes him basically out of contention. Now, he rallied. We'll talk about that later. Then Eric Almirola has the lead, and we think, we're going to be okay. And Clint Bowyer was still running inside the top 5 at that point. Well, Bowyer starts falling back and falling back
and falling back.
And then, kaboom! Suspension and or tire issue. Bowyer into the wall. Wrecked. Done. Caution. With 6 to go. Yes. Eric Almirola leads the cavalry down pit road. Now, when a caution comes with 6 to go as the leader, you're basically screwed no matter what, because if you pit, a lot of guys are going to stay out or go on a different strategy, and if you stay out, everybody else is going to pit. Either way, you're screwed. So, Almirola restarts 6th. Okay. Restart. He tries to go for a hole that doesn't really exist to get to 3rd. He hits the wall off turn 2, causes big wreck. There goes the 3rd Stewart-Haas car, and then the 4th car of Kurt Busch just kind of quietly faded out of contention. Therefore, Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law, and worse than that, it really was... And it didn't just affect the Fords. Kyle Busch got a speeding penalty at a point when he didn't need a speeding penalty. So that basically eliminated him from contention at that point. You just had, it was one thing after another, and then Almirola still had a shot to win in the closing stages and just got a little too greedy, bounced the car off the wall, and ended up taking out some other very good cars, including the 2 car who had a shot, the 78 car. And it really, Cisco, that crash changed the entire complexion of the race, because what you had was you had a number of drivers there. Maybe they wouldn't have run for the win, but they certainly were up front and in contention, and these were all playoff guys. So this just shook up the standings tremendously going into a race that is always a wild card. We came off the Roval, which was a wild card. Then we went to Dover, which ended up being a crash fest for the playoff guys, a mistake fest. And then now we're going to Talladega, which is another wild card. I mean, this playoff deal right now is wide open.
Oh, yeah, and I think we were all shocked by who... Did we say who actually won the race?
Chase Elliott.
Did we even get to that?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Chase Elliott got the win and held off Denny Hamlin. So whereas you had a race dominated by Ford, Cisco, we ended up seeing a Chevrolet beat a Toyota to the finish line.
And basically, we spent almost all of Thursday's show, and then Jacob, I think he could back up, say, oh, yeah, it's going to be Fords. It's going to be Fords. There's no way. I think Tom even said that Chase wasn't going to make it, if I remember correctly.
No, I had Chase in my. I had Chase.
I was the one who did not have Chase in the 8, and well, now I'm wrong. Which, quite frankly, now that Chase is actually locked into the 8, I could see him to look down the road being a potential party crasher for the top 4 that we've had for most of the season.
Yeah, I actually had 6 of the Fords. Minus Bowyer in the top 8. And, Clint certainly, he just had a lot of bad luck. It really wasn't so much anything Clint did. But I had 6 Fords plus Elliott and Kyle Busch is what I had in my final 8. And it still realistically could be that way, though Truex is still in pretty good shape, but he can't afford to get taken out on lap 2 and finish 40th or 39th either. You're putting a lot of pressure on him to actually perform at Talladega. This race at Dover, the last 100 laps of this race was crazy, and it goes to show how bad all these guys want this. We've created a playoff system that finally encourages everybody to race. There is no points racing. There is no good points day.
Before you said that, I was worried you were going in. Or I thought maybe you were going in a completely different direction as where you went. But I'm glad you went where you went because that's a positive thing.
Well, it is a positive thing. No, I think it's great. I think we've finally gotten it right because we're in a situation now where going into Talladega, nobody, including Chase Elliott, can really afford to sit back, Cisco, and just run around in 25th all day and try to hide because, A, you can never guarantee yourself that that's going to work because a big wreck can happen at any point in the field. But then secondarily, you still need all the stage points and the stage wins and all of that you can get because everything is still so close right now.
And it's weird because Chase is locked in, so he's fine, right, guys? No, he really doesn't have a lot of playoffs, which is something the other guys do have a lot of. So it's going to force Chase, if he's in that opportunity, he's going to have to race at Talladega. He can't just lay back.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what I'm really looking at.
It's more of a, now Chase is not racing for the round, for this round. He's actually racing for the next round.
Well, yeah. That's he is racing for the next round. And it's interesting that we even have this situation happening as we think about going into Kansas because Kansas being, once we get out of Talladega, Kansas being a cutoff race, ordinarily Kansas is not considered a scary track. But I got to tell you, and we'll pick this up after the break, right now, Kansas is going to be a real scary track for 4 guys, and the way this field is evening itself out across the board here in the top 12, it's going to be interesting when we get there. We're going to have a whole different situation coming out of Talladega, I think. Back with more of the Stock Car Show. Welcome to those of you who are joining us in the chat now. We'll be back with more of the show right after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball-in street? Girl-in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, How would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show here on the Performance Motorsports Network, Spreaker, and of course we are live on our Facebook, Race Chaser Media Facebook page as well. You can actually watch the live stream, and we come back and continue our conversation about Dover, because where I was going before the break was the idea that we swapped around Talladega and Kansas. Talladega used to be a cutoff race. Now Kansas is a cutoff race. Well, guess what? Talladega, I don't care where you put it in the playoff, Jacob, is a cutoff race, because Talladega could very well put a huge dent in any of these 12 drivers almost, except for Chase, who's automatically locked in, could put a huge dent in some of these other guys' chances to make it to the third round, even if they go halfway decently at Kansas.
It could. However, 2 points that make Talladega not as scary as what it used to be. Number one, Talladega being the second race of 3 in the round means even if you do leave buried in a hole, you can still win Kansas and you're in the next round, period. You know that it doesn't matter. If you win at Kansas, you advance, regardless of what anybody else does. Now, the second thing that makes Talladega a little less scary, I can't believe I'm saying this, but is the big one. Why? Because, quite simply, if you're the only playoff driver that wrecks, yeah, you're going to be in a points hole. But if 6 or 8 of these guys get swept up in the big one and all finish 25th or worse, you don't it basically nullifies it, because you don't lose points to anybody when everybody finishes terrible.
This is what really makes this so interesting, and why I love the playoff format. I know a lot of people don't, but quite honestly, I think what makes this for me is we're going into Talladega, and you've got 12 guys right now, 11 basically, because Chase is not worried. He's already in round 3. You've got 11 guys, Cisco, that basically really would prefer to not have to go to Talladega right now, because, you know, that's a track that could very easily all but destroy your playoff chances depending on who gets in the wreck. And as Jacob said, where they finish, we can't even begin to forecast what this is going to look like going into Kansas. And I think Kansas loves it that way, because there's going to be a lot of anticipation. We're going to have a few less guys after Kansas. Then we go to Martinsville, a short track. And
that's the start of round 3.
And that's the start of round 3. You've got, Phoenix and Vegas?
No,
Phoenix and
Martinsville,
Texas, and Phoenix.
Yeah. And that's been like that since 2004.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get them straight in my head. Poof. Yeah, Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix in round 3. And, you know, those are tracks that you would think Chase Elliott would be pretty good at. But this is why I say he's still got to, Cisco, even Chase Elliott can't sleep through Talladega. He's got to try and get as many stage points as possible and playoff points. He's going to go out there and go for the win.
Now, let's be clear. The stage points after this round don't matter. It's the playoff points if you win a stage or win the race that carry over. That's what he's playing for, and that's what matters.
Well, yes, for him, you're right. But for everybody else is stage points.
Yep.
Kyle Souza in our chat now. Good to have him with us. Kyle's our New England correspondent. We're going to be talking to Justin and Kyle Bonsignor a little bit later.
I was going to say, shocking that Sousa's paying attention to a show where a couple of modified guys.
Yeah, good to have Kyle with us this evening, and good to have everybody with us in the chat. Very nice full chat tonight. So we're happy to see that. But here's the deal: when I look at this, and you start actually thinking about Talladega, I'm going to throw a question around, and we'll even get Randy involved in this.
Oh, boy.
Of the drivers right now who are in the bottom 4, which driver do you feel like has the best opportunity to make Talladega to gain from Talladega?
Eric Almirola.
That was quick.
No question.
I didn't even have to call out who's going first, okay? Jacob, you can go second. We'll let Randy go third.
Just to clarify, you're saying who do I think of the playoff guys that has a best shot?
Out of the bottom 4.
Out of the bottom 4.
Yes, bottom 4.
Well, actually, it doesn't make it a little tougher because the driver that leapt to my mind out of the 12 that comes to mind is the most far back of the bottom 4, Alex Bowman. I actually think Team 88 has the best shot to capitalize here and really have a shot at the victory because of that team's prowess on the super speedways.
Okay, Randy, we have an Eric and an Alex. The other 2 drivers, just so you know, are Clint Boyer and Kyle Larson. So there's your 4 choices. Which one say you?
Yeah, I actually was going to agree with Jacob because I believe Alex Bowman is going to probably have the best chance just because of the equipment that he's in and the fact that, Junior still, I'm sure, kind of not teaches him, but kind of works with him a little bit still because that is still, the junior team. So, I'm sure, he'll go to Junior and be like, how do you do this? How do you see air? How do you do this? And I'm sure Junior will give him advice, and I'm sure he'll be fine. So my pick is Alex Bowman.
All right, so just to give an addendum to what I just said, if we expand that out to which of the playoff drivers do I think is actually going to win the race, I think it's not a driver in the bottom 4
Well, let's
at all.
get that. Don't interrupt the question with a question.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to agree with you and with Randy. I think it's Alex Bowman. I don't have any faith in Kyle Larson at this point. I just don't. I don't see Kyle.
Aww.
Look, anything can happen at Talladega. But I don't see it. I don't see him going to Kansas and winning the race. Or running for the win. Chris Murdoch is agreeing with Cisco, and
he's
Cisco
agreeing
picked
with none of us.
Almirola.
He said Boyer.
So Chris is going with Clint Boyer in our chat, and Kyle Souza is not. Kyle Souza just said Jacob is wearing a colorful shirt. Yes, that is correct.
I'm wearing a bad luck shirt is what I'm doing.
It's a green flag. It counts.
Okay.
Luck of the Irish. You're just celebrating St. Patrick's Day way early. Okay. Now we can go, if you want to, we can just have a little fun with this since you started it, Jacob. Which playoff driver do you feel like has the best chance to win Talladega? And don't give us a long dissertation.
The same driver that's won like 5 of the last 8 races there at Talladega, Brad Keselowski. Duh.
BK. Okay, well, Brad K is a great pick. And honestly, I believe, if you look at this, 6 out of the last 8 Talladega races won by Team Penske, which probably means the way this year's going, neither Brad nor Joey will win. It'll be one of the big 3.
Yeah. Well.
Because that's kind of what's been happening lately. But if I had to choose, I would say the same. I would say Brad Keselowski. Cisco?
Yeah, no, Brad Keselowski. I said it last week. I'll say it this week. The guy, he just knows how to make it work on Talladega. He's the driver that I've seen have the most control over his destiny at plate tracks in a very long time.
And stop and consider this. Tom throwing out the Penske numbers. I'll add to his Penske numbers. The last 4 Talladega playoff races in a row, going back to 2014, have been won by Team Penske. Keselowski in 14, Logano in 15 and 16, and Keselowski again last year. So they've each won 2 within that span. I would argue, honestly, either Keselowski or Logano would be the prohibitive favorite here.
Well, Chris is picking Logano in our chat because, of course, that's Chris's favorite driver, and also because he won in the spring, which is why I'm saying he probably won't win again in the fall. This
Correct.
has just not been This has not been the year where you see a lot of drivers going back. Now, we almost saw Harvick double up over the weekend, but then he had the issue, and that just seems to be the way it's going. It's a strange year. It's like we play ping pong among the big three. I won this week. Okay, you win next week, and I'll have bad luck. And then okay, you over there, you win. And then I'll come back and win the following. It's kind of been the way it's been going. But Brad got on the hot streak.
Yes.
But I told you I thought he would cool off, and I still think I'm picking him to win, saying he's got the best chance. But I'm still seeing the big three. As being the big three, but Talladega could screw all that up.
Well, the big three are terrible at Talladega combined between them. The last time any one of the drivers that are this year's big three won a race at Talladega was Kevin Harvick in 2010. 2010 in the spring.
Again,
that was the Jeff Burton race, right?
No, that was the Harvick edging McMurray. That was Harvick over McMurray by a half car
That
length.
was the race where he just beat Jamie.
Clint Boyer in the fall was Clint Boyer over Jeff Burton.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking of. Anyway, if you're not picking a blue oval, by the way, you're wrong. They've won the last 6 races.
Well, here again,
Just saying,
I'm not going to say that because
races.
I think, again, on the plate track, anything can happen. And we saw how many of the blue ovals fall out or get wrecked out of Dover in the last 100 laps. So, there's no you can't derive anything from statistics when it comes to a plate race. You're just guessing. We'll be back. We'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show, presented, by the way, by our friends at HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, right after these words, and we are going to talk Xfinity when we come back.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, this is Austin Terrio, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com, and you should. If you have any driver safety gear needs, you need HMS Motorsport. They are the experts in motorsport safety, and they will work with you on proper fitment and installation of all of your belts and all of that. So make sure that you get online, check them out. And they have 2 locations, obviously, in Danvers, Massachusetts, and right here in Mooresville. And we love the support that they bring to this show. We appreciate all of them for what they bring to motorsport safety. And with that, we turn to the Xfinity Series, Jacob, where right now we're working on dropping down to 4. That's kind of where we're going to be here. We've got 8 right now.
Yeah,
but
we're getting ready. Well,
basically,
the hard part here is now we sit idle for a little bit on these 8 because the Xfinity Series has Kansas, but other than that, that's the only race of this round that they have. You've got an off week, Kansas, an off week, and then we finally get to the second race of the round.
So now I'll make my point that we really only have 2 cars that are actually getting the results here. We have Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier. Daniel Hemrick, sitting in 3rd right now, is 26 points out of 2nd. And
2 points to the good.
2 points to the good. So basically nobody from 3rd, really nobody's safe, but Bell. But nobody from 3rd on back is safe, period.
Heck no.
At this point, what we saw at Dover was pretty much what we've seen a lot this year. I love Daniel Hemrick, and Daniel Hemrick had a shot at that, and Daniel Hemrick messed up.
And that wasn't even that was Daniel Hemrick speeding on pit road.
Yes, and this, if he ever closes the deal,
he's going to be scary.
Probably win 3 in a row. But right now, it's the Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier show in the Xfinity Series. Bell getting the win.
Can I be shocked that Allgaier was not really in the conversation?
Well, you can be, but it's a rare day when that happens.
I mean, the points gap they have right now, they're basically set. Barring an absolute historic collapse, those 2 are going to be in the Final 4. It's a race for 2 spots.
Yes, it's a race for 2 spots. Well, it's a race for 2 spots, yes. I would agree with that. And really what you've got here, I don't believe Cindric makes it. I don't believe Matt Tiff makes it. I don't believe Tyler Reddick makes it. I think this is down to Hemrick, Custer, and Sadler for those 2 spots.
Well, keep in mind, Custer and Sadler right now are tied on the cut line going into this second round.
Yeah, I think you've got 5 cars basically running for the 4 spots.
Yeah, and I think the real hard part for me is you've got 3 pretty similar racetracks. You've got Kansas, 1.5 intermediate, Texas, 1.5 intermediate. The only real straw that I feel like could stir the drink in this round is Phoenix, which is not only a cutoff race, but interestingly enough, if you're Austin Cindric, I'm looking at Phoenix and I'm thinking to myself, this could be good because the 22 car, which he's driving in the playoffs, won at Phoenix earlier this season, so if they unload with speed, he could have a shot. But here's the other thing, too. All it takes is a blown motor, a blown tire. From third on back, everybody's only separated by 12 points.
Well,
That's
I agree.
12 positions on the racetrack.
I agree, but if everybody runs as they normally run, I don't see Reddick, Tift, or Cindric
ran
making
top
it to
5
the 4.
at Dover all day.
I don't see Austin Cindric making up the ground over Custer and Sadler and Hemrick to run in the top 4. I just
10
don't.
points over 3 races. That's
I
3
just
positions
don't.
a race.
You're assuming that those guys are all going to have at least one disaster. I don't buy it.
I didn't say it doesn't take a disaster. That's 3 positions over 3 races.
Don't
That's
argue with
stage
me. I'm
points.
giving you my opinion, and
I'm
I'm
giving
telling
you mine.
that I don't see Cindric making it.
I absolutely disagree.
Well, okay, so you put Cindric in your 4, and
I
I'm not
actually
putting
do.
him in mine.
I put the 22 in over the. Oh, actually, here I'll shock everybody right now. I'm putting the 22 into the Final 4 over the 21. I do not believe Daniel Hemrick makes the Final 4 for the exact reason that you just mentioned. Too many mistakes.
Wow.
That team shot themselves in the foot twice in the first round. They got lucky. They don't have that luxury now. You make one big mistake, you have one bad finish.
Okay.
You're done.
Cisco, what say you about this?
What say I? See, the problem for me is the fact that, yes, Austin Cindric is at the bottom right now, which I understand that, but that doesn't mean anything when Cole Custer is in 4th and he's 10 points above you. There's
That's
literally
what I
no
was just
meaning to
saying.
that to me. That's 10 positions on the racetrack. That's 5 positions in 2 races. That's 3 1/3 in 3 races. So I'm sorry, but Austin Cindric, gosh. Well, I agree with Jacob. I do agree with Jacob on Daniel Hemrick. I haven't seen the consistency. And Tom, you say it all the time. I see what I believe. Or I believe what I see, I believe is the term that you use. But Hemrick just hasn't been closing the deal. I mean, personally, for me, this is going to be Allgaier versus Bell 2. The whatever tagline you want to put at the end of the movie title when it goes to Homestead. That's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'd say the last spot in this for me it's a wild card. I need to see more races first, but I like Elliott Sadler for that 3rd spot.
So hold on.
Okay.
So you're picking Sadler and you're picking
Bell,
Cindric.
Allgaier, Sadler, and toss up for the last spot.
Well, no, you got to pick one. Who's your 4th car? This is not
intermediate
politics.
tracks. The problem for me with Cindric is I feel like that 60 car is just cursed.
He doesn't. Remember, Cisco. He's not running anymore in the 60.
That's
he's
right,
in the 22. I just said
so
that.
he isn't in the curse of the 60 car
no,
anymore,
he's
he
in the
actually
20.
does have a
He's
chance
in the
now.
22 all the way to the end.
Okay, who's your?
It's hard. You know what? Yeah,
we haven't got all day.
I can't tell, guys. For me, it's too close. Somebody needs to step up. I need to see something here because otherwise, for me, it's just like throw a dart at it. Whoever gets it, gets it.
Okay, Cisco can't make a decision. Randy, do you want in on this?
Yeah, I'll agree with Cisco and say Elliott Sadler, and then for the 4th guy, I'll go with Cole Custer. But you know what? It really doesn't matter because it's all about Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier anyway.
That's my point. That's my ultimate
You can
point
put
here.
anybody you want to in the last 2 spots. You can put Kyle and Kevin in the last 2 spots. It's going to be Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier.
If I'm being honest, I don't even. To me, I picked Christopher Bell to win 7 races this year. He's won 6. Okay,
I'm going to give you that.
I'm going to say that he's going to win at least one more race sometime between now and the end of the year. Okay, which is kind of where I was going, Jacob. Which means if I can finish a sentence, Christopher Bell's going to be your series champion, which is what I predicted at the beginning of the season. He even spotted the junior motorsports cars about a quarter of the year before he really got hot. And ever since then, it's been pretty much the Christopher Bell show. unless something unforeseen happens, if he doesn't have any bad luck, Christopher Bell's going to win this title. But I am not. I think the world of Austin Cindric, but I don't have enough faith in Austin Cindric to get to the top 4 between here and the end of the round when you've got Sadler in the way, you've got Hemrick, who I definitely, even though he hasn't been able to win a race yet, I do believe Daniel will finish well enough to get himself to the next round. And I think, honestly, if Daniel's going to win a race, I think he's got his best shot between now and Homestead. The races that are left between now and Homestead are, I think there's some good tracks there for Daniel to go get that race win and put himself in that position to go. I just don't see Cindric doing it. I love that Tift made it. Hate that Chastain didn't. Ross was the one guy that you would have really wanted to see squeak through, but just wasn't in the cards. Reddick has just kind of barely survived all the way through. Not seeing anything great from him. Custer's been up and down a little bit, just good enough to keep himself in 4th, and Sadler kind of the same right now. But again, I feel like some of these 1.5 miles, that they're going to play into Elliott's hands. His best tracks are upcoming. I just don't see Cindric. I don't see him not having one more race that isn't real good before the end of the deal. I just don't.
I'm going to make a
less consistent.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. If Daniel Hemrick is going to make the Final 4, Daniel Hemrick's going to need to win at Texas. Why do I say Texas specifically? Because of the 3 tracks in this round, he led 39 laps, contended for the win, and finished 3rd at Texas in the spring.
Yeah.
That, to me, I feel like is his best shot. And keep in mind, the only 2 guys that beat him in that, number 1, he started 35th in that race. Number 2, the only 2 guys that beat him were Ryan Blaney, a Cup guy, and Christopher Bell, who obviously, as we've talked about, is kind of knocking everybody around here this season. Oh, by the way, another shot in the arm for the 22 team. They won Texas, too, earlier this year. So 2 of the 3 tracks in this round, the 22 team won at in the spring.
Can you tell me who was driving the car when they won both of those races?
It was the Cup guys, but that still correct. Proves speed. And Austin Cindric's been in the top 9 in 3 of his last 4 races. Just because he hasn't won yet doesn't mean he can't win, just like Daniel Hemrick.
Say that it doesn't mean he can't. Just saying you can't take statistics from a Cup guy and put them into Austin Cindric's bank.
No, but when there are no Cup guys and you're running a Cup-level car and you finished top 10 in 3 of your last 4 races this season, I believe in the kid. I really do.
Well, I believe in him. I just don't believe enough in him over the rest of the round that he's going to overcome the performances of all of the drivers in front of him. But we'll see.
Only got to beat him by 2 spots a race.
We'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show. We're done with NASCAR for now. We're going short tracking when we come back, and we're going to talk about what is going on with NASCAR and ARCA in 2020, and I just don't understand. More with the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ben Rhodes, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You got to see a little bit of head bobbing there from
Yeah,
Tom.
I love me some Jim Croce. Ben, we were Brown. Ben Rhodes bringing us back, and we're not going truck racing with this segment because
no, but we are this weekend.
We are this weekend, and we'll get to that. But we're gonna talk some short track stuff because the news broke over the end of the week into the weekend about NASCAR and ARCA and 2020 and what we're going to see. We got kind of some bullets of what we're going to see when NASCAR and ARCA come together. And I'm having trouble comprehending this whole scenario. I feel like there have to be some pieces missing here because if you look at what they're doing, basically here it is in a nutshell. The K&N Pro Series East and West are being cut to 6 to 8 events each. This from about 12 to 14 that we've had over the last several seasons. Then, on the ARCA side, they're going to split the ARCA series up in an even more defined way than we do now into ARCA Elite, which are the super speedway races that we're going to run in this new scenario. And there are going to be a minimum of 10, according to what was announced. And the other races in the ARCA series, what is currently now the short track championship, is now going to be called the Stock Car Invitational. And those are going to be on short tracks. And we're going to allow the K&N cars to run with the ARCA cars on these tracks. We are then going to basically make a separate situation out of the super speedway stuff that ARCA does, raise the age limit to 18. So according to what we're reading, you could run Pocono or Kentucky at 17. That's gone. You're going to have to be 18 now. You can run all the other races, so it appears, at 15. That's the K&N and the Stock Car Invitational / ARCA Short Track Series. No specific tracks were announced. We do not know if the dirt tracks are going to be included in this short track series. We assume they would be. So the net changes here are half of the K&N races are gone. The Stock Car Invitational is now combined, and the ARCA Series Elite is basically only super speedways, we believe, no mention of road courses, though again, we don't have any specific tracks yet, so we don't know if perhaps, but they can run any road courses this year. So I'm going to start with Cisco. Is this better, worse, or basically more of the same?
Can I go for option D? I'm more confused now than I was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, because that's probably most of the people that read this. Jacob, basically this looks like
Can I
to
simplify
me,
it a little bit?
This basically looks like to me we're de-emphasizing K&M. We're more emphasizing the ARCA stuff and making a much bigger deal out of this short track thing than it was. And we're going to make all the K&N guys, if they want more races, the K&N car, we're going to make them all travel even farther more often.
To run ARCA.
Because we're going to run the ARCA short tracks. They're going to be a lot of the Midwest tracks. So it's going to raise the budget for K&N, even though you're running less races. And the ARCA series is going to get at least one more speedway, so that's going to be slightly more expensive. And there's a 3-year gap between what you can do with the short track stuff and the super speedway stuff.
Okay.
What do we miss?
So let me simplify and offer a few clarifications.
Okay.
Number one, just to clarify your points on the ARCA series. The ARCA, what they're calling the ARCA Racing Elite Series, the points champion for that is still going to be the champion over all 20 races, the 10 super speedway races and the 10 short track races.
So those count for ARCA points, but not for K&M points.
That's correct. Because it's built into our.
I'm getting more confused by the day, but go ahead.
No, because you can run a K&N car in those races, but it's still sanctioned.
But we
by
won't
ARCA.
give you points. Okay, go ahead.
It's still sanctioned by ARCA. All right. So basically the ARCA point structure is not going to change. You're still going to be a champion over 20 races, basically half super speedways and half short tracks. That's not any different. What's different here and what frustrates me here is we're basically, as you mentioned, cutting the K&N Pro Series East and West schedules virtually in half. We had 14 races each in East and West this year. We're down to maybe, if we're lucky, just over half. If we get lucky and run 8 races in each,
get to
we'll
8,
be just over half. Now, that doesn't include, hey, you can run 10 races as a combo K&N and ARCA race, but as you mentioned, it's increased travel for some of the K&N teams because a lot of these short tracks are based in the Midwest. So especially for the West Series teams, that's going to be difficult. The East Series teams maybe not quite as bad. But
it's just as bad.
Just about as bad.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the on-track product for the 20-race slate that makes up the ARCA series, I really don't think is going to look all that different. Where I think this hurts the entire grassroots pipeline is the K&N series, and this was my biggest fear when NASCAR bought ARCA in the first place because the K&N car counts were terrible as it was. I was worried that much like they did with the Whelen Southern Modified Tour when they merged the two NASCAR Modified Tours, that NASCAR was basically going to use this as an excuse to kill whichever was doing worse, in this case, K&N East and West, which I think they're well on their way to doing when we do this merger in 2020.
Whether they intend to or not, and Cisco, I don't think they intend to do this. I think somebody's deluding themselves into thinking that somehow this helps the whole product. The truth is it doesn't, because what's even worse right now is that for the K&N guys, if you want to run for the points in the K&N series, you're only running 6 to 8 races. And these ARCA short track points races, the Stock Car Invitational, there's no points for you. It's just so.
Well, okay. Let's be clear. The K&N guys can run for points and win the Stock Car Invitational
Yes, but it doesn't
They
count
can't win
toward
the
the
ARCA
K&N series.
championship.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But if you go out and beat all the ARCA guys and win the Stock Car Invitational Championship, that's a separate points fund.
Yes.
The way I would understand it, it's a separate points fund.
Okay, so yeah, it's basically a points a mini points fund within a points fund,
just like the short track challenge,
which really isn't the same, and it's again, it's going to be a short number of races. So I don't know. I just this is so confusing, and I feel like, Cisco, this really makes it even more difficult for the drivers who are trying to get up the ladder. especially in light of the fact that in theory I can run a truck at 16, but I can't run ARCA until I'm 18 now, any of it past the short track. So I kind of feel like this makes ARCA, for an 18-year-old, to me, this makes ARCA worthless because you can just go run trucks.
It feels like we're missing some piece of information that would make this make sense.
I would hope so.
Like, we cut the K&N races because we were losing money on them. Or the teams came to us and told us we'll run more if we have less races because we're just going to run K&N. Or something along those lines for this to make sense. Because we don't have what that thing is right now, apart from the obvious, well, K&N's not working, so they're just going to kill it. There's no other explanation that we have right now as to why they're making this move. Now, I could buy those two arguments I made if there were people saying that was the case. But I just made that up in my head. That very well could be the case, or it could just be insane, and they were perfectly fine. They're just doing it because they can.
Well, they're not fine. Both the K&Ns and ARCA were hurting. Between K&N East, K&N West, and ARCA, all three of those series, not a single one of them had 10 cars running. 10 drivers running full-time in 2018. Not a single one had 10 drivers. The East had 8.
West had 9.
I think West had 9 and ARCA had 9. So all three series are – and look, this is not hard to figure out. They're too expensive. So when you put this new format together, you didn't make it more economical. And here's the next question. What are we going to do for television? Because in my view, if we go with the ARCA package for this and lose NBCSN, and everything is – now, you may see NBCSN still do the K&M portion, but if the rest of it's still with the ARCA – again, this is no better. MAV TV is not – it doesn't get huge rankings. In fact, there is no measurement of rankings. For it reaches 62 million homes. There are no metrics. They don't give you metrics. So, you're not putting yourself in the best position. I just think what I'm hoping is out of all of this, as we get ready to go to a break, what I hope is that there's some information that's missing that will make all this make sense. It isn't why they're doing it this way. Teams didn't come and complain, because if they came and complained about cost and NASCAR gave them this, NASCAR's increased the cost. It's going to be more expensive. So I don't know, but it feels to me like this just is basically no better, and it may be worse and more confusing than it has been up to now. As we go to break, 2019, the ARCA series, exactly the same. This all doesn't kick in until 2020. Any of you watching in the chat, feel free to give us your opinion. We'll get to it later in the show. And with that, we take a break. When we come back,
Modifieds.
It's time to go modified racing, and we're going to call one Bonsignor at a time. But we're going to have Justin and Kyle over the next two segments, and we're going to talk modifieds here on the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport. We'll be right back.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Modified driver Timmy Salamito bringing us back out of break into our second hour of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport. And we continue with short track conversation going to the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. My name is Tom Baker. I've got Jacob Seelman here in the Race City USA Race Chaser studio with me, along with Randy Miller, who is over across in the tech shed, capably producing the show from an audio standpoint. And then we got Cisco Scaramuzza coming to us from the Midwest. He is our video producer / co-host. And we now go ahead and introduce via the Race Chaser hotline Kyle Bonsignor, who picked up the win in the fall final at Stafford Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. And Kyle, welcome to the program, and man, congratulations on a very big victory. That was pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you. Talk a little bit about that race, because not just the ending, of course. I mean, you and Justin both having good reason to celebrate, but, you know, the race itself was kind of an action-packed race there.
Yeah, actually, Stafford put some of the PJ1 down in the outer groove, and it made for a really exciting race all around. You were able to run up high in that sticky stuff when your tires got worn out, and with the strategy there, it's really different as far as with your tires from any other modified tour race that they run, where you're only allowed to take one tire per stop, and that's pretty much at Stafford exclusively, and it seems to make for a lot better racing because of all the different things that you can do with just taking a right rear or right sides or rear tires or all three, left rear, right front, right rear. There's a lot of movement throughout the field, and the race was, I mean, it was a really good race. We started 12th, we ran up to 5th or 6th around lap 70, and then we pitted when everybody else did, but we didn't take the same amount of tires. We took less tires early in the race and saved them for later on because we saw in the Spring Sizzler, Ryan Priest won the race because he took tires late. And last year at the fall final, Eric Goodell took tires late, and they both won those races. So we were off on strategy compared to everybody else, but it ended up playing off in the long run. It was a little nerve-wracking because we got down to like 40, 30 to go, and there were no cautions. And then luckily we had a slew of them at the end of the race. That's how we were able to get back up there. But we ran up in the top 5 for at least half of the race prior to that point. We faded a little bit because we only took 2 tires and everybody else took 3. So it was a good race. I mean, I think that Stafford's really onto something with that traction treatment in the outside groove, just because that track is so flat and so technical. It's kind of like a safety net where if you kind of get squirrely or something on the outside, you're not in the fence or losing a bunch of spots. So it was a really good race. I clearly enjoyed it. it was really cool to see my cousin, lock up the championship a race early, because I know they've been trying. They would have been a lot closer, but the ending at New Hampshire didn't go their way. But it was a lot of fun. I think it was a good race for the fans too, just with all the movement throughout the race, especially at the end. There seemed to be a lot of cars side by side on TV when I watched it on Saturday night. So,
Kyle, obviously you've been at this for a couple of years now on the Tour Modified side, and it built from some Southern Modified Tour races to the southern portion of the Combined Tour to now what's turned into most of a season for you. And it seems like this moment has been getting closer and closer and closer. What's the building process been like from when you started in the car a couple years ago to now finally reaching the first pinnacle and knocking that first win off the to-do list?
Well, you're right. We ran one full season, and it was actually the final season of the Southern Modified Tour, the Whelen Southern Modified Tour, and we raced the year after. So last year, 2017, we ran. I think we only ran about 5, maybe 6 races total all season, and we only did that because last year, because of the ending of the Southern Tour, the NASCAR paid a little bit of tow money to teams just because they knew that the Southern guys were going to have to go up north, and we took advantage at the end of the season, and we went and ran Stafford just because that's a huge track, and I remember going there to watch as a kid, and it was always really good racing, and I figured why not, let's go try it. And it's very, very rare that you hear of a Southern team, even though I'm from Long Island. I've lived in North Carolina for 13 years now, and it was very rare that a Southern team ventured north and did anything. Usually they kind of got their butts handed to them because those guys are just so good at all those tracks because they race there so many times a year and so many years in a row. And we actually ran really good last fall. We qualified 6th and finished 10th just because it was the first time that we ever had to legitimately make pit stops during a race. So we learned a lot in that day, and I haven't missed a race at Stafford since, and we went and ran Thompson earlier this year, but I felt like the only way that we were going to get better, because we did have a 2nd and a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th, on the Southern Modified Tour, but there's no comparison when you compare the tracks and the amount of cars that are within such a small time frame, on that speed chart compared to from the Southern Tour to the Northern Tour. The Northern Tour is just insane. Well, now it's the only tour, but it's crazy how close everybody is. And to me, if we're going to race modifieds, we're going to race them against the best because it doesn't matter who it is. When you go and run a Whelen Modified Tour race up north, if you can run good or win, I mean, that's doing something. And I think for us, it was huge because we were able to pull off a win on strategy, and we had a great car, and it showed. We ran up front a lot, and we made our way to the front a lot. But not only that, but we did it on, this is, we ran 3 races at Stafford, 1 at Thompson, and 1 at Langley this year, and that's it. So we were, we really focused really hard on Stafford just because I enjoy racing there so much. But it takes a lot of work. It's hard enough for me just to find crew members that can either go up there or that live up there that volunteer their time and days to come to the racetrack and help us. We actually, the tire changer, tire carrier, we actually found those guys because I basically last fall put out an ad on Facebook saying, hey, we're going to run at Stafford. Can anybody help us? I'll cover your pit pass, So it's, once we got that first season on the tour under our belt down here, I knew that I really wanted to race up north. It was just finding the honestly the money and the people and the time to go there. Because for us, I know all those guys, they left Stafford Sunday night at 7 to 8 o'clock, and they were home by 10, 11, or midnight. I didn't get home until 12:30 the next day. Because we had to stop, sleep, because it's a 12-hour ride home.
Sure.
So, that's the toughest part, but it makes it that much more rewarding when you do really well or win the race.
Jacob, somehow I feel like he'll have less problem finding people to volunteer to help him now.
Now that he's won, and that was going to be absolutely my next question is, okay, Kyle, so how big a shot in the arm has the victory been?
Oh, it's huge. We've had a couple of people, asking if we need more help for Thompson, because I made a promise to my crew guys right before the race. They asked if we were going to Thompson this week for the fall or for the World Series, and I told them if we finish in the top 3, Stafford, we'll go to the World Series, and we finished in the top 3 for sure. So I had a couple of guys reach out to me, so we're gonna have because you need 2 tire changers at Thompson, so we're gonna have another tire changer that's a volunteer but really good, and a bunch of other people, but we don't, now we kind of got an excess of help, so I've had to, appreciatively decline some people's help, but it's been really good. I mean, you forget how, to me, every race that we run, if we can win, is huge because it's the Northern Tour, and there's no real Southern modified races that are a huge staple like the fall final, and you forget how many people know about that. I got phone calls and text messages all week long, and then after it aired on TV, I got more phone calls and text messages, and it's been huge because we just had up to that point, we had such a bad string of races that it seemed like whatever could go wrong did go wrong, and it was costing us a lot of money because things would break and we got spun out and wrecked, and it was rough, and it was definitely the turning point of our season, and that's why we're going to Thompson. I figured, well, we won the money there, so we'll go and ride the momentum wave and try and have another good finish at Thompson and finish off the year really strong.
Okay, 2 final questions before we let you get out of here. First of all, are you going to run at Richmond in a couple of weeks in the Big Race Commonwealth Classic there? And then secondly, share with us any thank yous or, who helps you make it happen.
To answer the first part of your question, right now that's not on the schedule, Richmond, just because for us, if the race is over at, let's just say 6 o'clock on Sunday, if we drive all the way through the night, we'll get home at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, and we'd have to turn the car around in basically a day and a half and then load it in the trailer to go up to Richmond. And it's just, the problem is my crew chief can't make it to Richmond, and my spotter can't make it to Richmond. So with those 2 factors, those 2 being out of, they can't go, and the amount of time that we'd have to turn it around, and right now it's not on the schedule, unless something comes up where someone can't make it, but their crew and their car can make it, and I can drive it. I'd be all for that. But right now it's not on the schedule. Unfortunately, I'd really love to go race Richmond because I've been there and it's a really nice track, and I've seen the old school modified races there, and I'd love to go back just because I think that'd be a great venue for modifieds in general. It's too bad, but I definitely plan on going there next year if they have it next year. I wish it was a week later than what it is, just because Thompson's a big race for super late model guys, modifieds, everybody races there this weekend. But so next year hopefully, and then the second part, there's a bunch of people that I got to thank. Troyer Engineering, they got the great chassis that's what we run. Troyer Race Cars. Willwood Brakes, Quartermaster Performance, Bassett Rims, Robert Yates Racing Engines, Chalou Performance, Munns Automotive, Whalen Engineering for sponsoring the race, put up the money for us to go chase after. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody here. Arts Radiators, we run the Arts cooling system from Robert Yates Racing. And Buzzy Racing, they do our rear ends, transmissions. I think I said Willwood Brakes, but if I missed it, Willwood Brakes. And I got to thank my family, my fiance, Sam, my mom, dad, my cousins, everybody that helps me, my uncles, my crew chief, Bobby Foley, my car chief is my dad. But there's a lot of people that I'm sure that I'm forgetting, but if they weren't at the race, we all went out and kind of celebrated during the week last week. So it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we definitely are happy to have you on, and congratulations on the big win, Kyle. We wish you the best at the finale at Thompson, and look forward to talking to your cousin here in just a couple of moments when we get back around the turn from our break.
Oh, awesome.
Kyle Bonsignor, and with that, we are going to step aside. When we come back, Justin Bonsignor joins us, not to talk about the race he won, but to talk about the championship that he just clinched in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. More of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport right after this.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally. Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver of the number nothing Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
From Garrett Smithley to Q the Champ.
Yeah, Q the Champ. Justin Bonsignor with us. We just talked to his cousin Kyle. Now we're going to we talked to the race winner. Now we're going to talk to the champion one race early. Congratulations, Justin Bonsignor, and welcome back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport.
Hey guys, pleasure to be on. Thank you very much. It's been an awesome year for sure.
Oh yeah, I would imagine it's been a bit of a surprising year in the sense that you made changes hopefully to make it a championship year, but could you have even forecast a year this relatively flawless?
Never. I mean, we made a lot of changes over the off season by bringing in Ryan Stone and going to the LFR chassis, and we were optimistic and we knew we could have a really good year. But if anybody in any type of race would tell you they're going to go out and win, nearly half the schedule and a championship and the poles and just the speed we've had in general, you'd call them a liar. So obviously we thought we were capable of it, but to actually go out and execute it and put together the races we were able to put together and have speed at every racetrack we went to, it's just it's what you dream of, and we were able to go out and do it, and that's just not without a lot of hard work. And Ryan Stone works his tail off every day, every night. I just got off the phone with him a little bit ago, and he's been at the shop all day and all night, and will be through the whole rest of the week to get ready Thompson, even though we've already won a championship. So we got a lot to race for this weekend, and we're really gunning for it.
Justin, you mentioned Ryan right off the bat, and that's exactly where I wanted to go with this, because from the very first race when I was at Myrtle Beach in the spring with you guys, I watched you guys work, and it seemed like the chemistry between the two of you, the effort, all the pieces were there between you two to fuel this run. How important was that driver-crew chief relationship this year and bringing Ryan into this title run that you went on?
I mean, we owe everything to Ryan. I hate to say everything, but, because Ken and Janine and Phoenix Communications, everybody reinvested and was willing to make this big switch and reinvest a lot of money into the team again. But Ryan, it took a couple phone calls to get Ryan to say yes, and we went back and forth with a few different things. And, right from the day one of him working for Ken and with the team, there was an instant chemistry. He's such an easy person to get along with. We hung out a little bit last year in Charlotte when he was still living down south, and he's just an easy person to talk to, and he's a racer. He's been around it a long time. He grew up racing different types of cars. He ran a little bit of an SK Modified for a while years ago. So when you talk to him, he understands what the car is doing, and that just made the whole process even quicker and even easier for us to gel. There was a lot of worries and concerns over this off season of, well, what if it takes us 4 or 5 races to figure out what we need in a race car? And he was pretty confident the whole time of like, the race car is a race car. You're going to tell me it's loose, and we're going to make an adjustment, and we'll go from there. And he couldn't have been more right. Right from Myrtle Beach, we unloaded with a car that I didn't get to test because the weather wouldn't cooperate. We didn't get to go to Speed Week, and we unloaded and went to second, I think, on the first run of the day for us, and we stayed there. And we ran really well that day. We didn't get the win. Our strategy kind of bit us, but I got out of that car and I was like, man, I know this is Myrtle Beach and it's a one-of-a-kind track, but I think we're going to be the team to beat. And I think people are going to, they're going to kind of sleep on us for a little bit. And, we went up to Thompson and, we won that race. We didn't have the best cars, but from there it just kept snowballing. By the time we got to Seekonk, we just were firing on all cylinders. That was like the third or the fourth race. And, we went out, we won practice, we won the pole and won the race, and that just set us through the spring and the summer, and we was just on fire. And through all that, he and the team just worked their butts off every night at the shop, preparing the cars and, making sure we weren't going to have any issues, mechanical failures, anything like that. And, Ken was giving us everything we needed, whether it be, different stuff to try for setups or, making sure the cars are, well-maintained with new parts and fresh motors, and the pit stops all year were just unbelievable. So it's a team effort, but, the leader of the team has been doing a really good job of leading it.
Yeah, speaking of the overarching leader of that team, not to put any pressure on you or anything, Justin, but I was just watching our live chat as you were talking about Ryan and Ken and noticing that your team owner, Ken Massa, is now in our listening audience. So no pressure, don't screw up.
I just got off the phone with him, and I was like, I got to go do an interview. We'll talk in a bit. So,
well,
I would say I think he would agree with everything I'm saying right now about Ryan. And
I would say
they probably they're a little closer in age, and they're probably a little bit more of a little bromance going. They talk a lot every day, but you know what? They do a great job, and they give us everything we need. And everybody's on the same page. Everybody wants the same goal. We had a big call tonight, just kind of going over Stafford for the first time, and everybody's kind of working towards just what do we got to do to get better. We had great cars all year, but when we didn't win the race, we're like, well, all right, we finished second, we finished third. What do we got to do to win? So everybody's pointing in the same direction, and we're excited to go to Thompson this week with a shot at sweeping all 4 races.
I was going to ask you about that because that's got to be pretty special for you to go in with that kind of an opportunity, particularly knowing you don't have to worry about points. You can just go race to win. How amazing is that on the Wheel and Modified Tour in this day and age with so many top teams?
Yeah, the tour is so tough. We've had an amazing year, but, out of 7 races, we could have won 0 if, a little bit of strategy doesn't work out. It's just how competitive the tour is. one bad pit stop or you get stuck in traffic a little bit and you're not going to win any races. So the Tour is unbelievably competitive. It's only getting tougher. You get a lot of guys still coming up and learning. You look at Chase Dowling in his breakout year. You got guys like Craig Lutz that are knocking on the door. And then, a ton of part-timers that come in and make our series really tough to win. Actually, there hasn't been that many full-time guys that came in and won this year. We had a lot of part-timers, with McKennedy and a lot of first-timers too. Matty Hirschman going back to victory lane when he shows up, and then, obviously my cousin last week. So that's really cool to see for our sport. Kobe mentioned that last weekend in an interview, and I was like, wow, he's 100% right. You need new winners. So on a day where we can't win, it's cool to see a first-time winner come in and show other teams like, wow, if we do this right, we can beat these guys. And that bodes well for car counts, I think, in our series, and that's why you see 36 cars signed up for this weekend.
Yeah, and that's huge, and I'll get to that a little bit more in a minute, Justin. But looking back, and you mentioned it, the possibility of sweeping Thompson. You win at Bristol this year. You sweep Riverhead, which your home track. 7 wins, a championship. Is there when you look back on this year, is there anything that you feel like you missed out on?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that. We were close at a bunch of other tracks. Whether we finished second or finished in the top 5, we led laps at all but 2 races so far. So we put ourselves in position to win a lot of races, and there was a few we lost. Off the top of my head, Langley and Oswego or tracks we haven't been too much, but I haven't won there yet. So you want to win at every type of racetrack. You want to be as diverse as possible as a driver and have a win in every racetrack. But we were really competitive there. If we had to pick something, it's probably New Hampshire. Obviously, that the whole world saw what happened there at the end. It was all over TV and fans' choice, which is another great thing for our series. And to not come away with that win after having such a great car and playing our strategy perfectly, that was a little bit of a heartache. But it's just so tough at Loudon. I think we had one of the best cars in the July race, and one caution kind of ruins it, and you're shuffled back, and it's just a product of New Hampshire and being in the pack with the restrictor plates, and it makes it tough for us. But yeah, that 250 kind of still has me a little bummed out. But a week later we were celebrating the championship, so gets over it. We'll get over it, I guess, at some point. But we are excited to go to Thompson. Kobe did the sweep there a couple years ago. He actually passed us with a couple to go to do it, which is a little tough. So hopefully we can get a little revenge on that this weekend. And I've read, I think Steve Park and Stefanik were the other ones to sweep 4 races at a racetrack. So, that'd be a cool list to be on. And, I like those type of stats. Those are things that in 20, 30 years you can be like, wow, that was really cool what we accomplished that year.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you've certainly had a year where it's been very cool to see what you accomplished, clinching the championship with 1 race to go. Real quick, I know that you've got a lot of people that have helped you out and who help you make this happen. Can you elaborate on that for us, please, sir?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, you have to have a great team behind you, and it starts right at the top with Ken and Janine Massa. I've been with them. This is our 9th full-time season, and it's the only team I've ever driven for. So without them and the support of M3 Technology, their company, none of this would have been possible for many years. And the last few years, we brought Mark and Marie Langevin from Phoenix Communications on board, and they were kind of a lifesaver in some tough times, and to have their backing even after 2017 and their support is huge, and we look forward to the future with them. We can't do without a lot of our other great product sponsors too. Obviously, we got LFR Race Cars and Robbie Fuller, Robert Yates Racing Engines and David Lewis. We got Bassett Wheels, Draco Springs, Brown and Miller Oil Lines, FK Rod Ends, Hocon Gas, Anytime Realty. A lot of just great people that are behind the scenes. If we need them or need some new ideas or new parts, they're always there to help us out. So also got to thank my crew. Ryan, like I said, Ryan Stone led an amazing team this year. A lot of my guys have been with me a long time, pretty much since the beginning. So aside from Ryan, who was the car chief on Ronnie Silk, this is the first championship for anybody on my team. household. So that's really cool. Them enough, whether it's the pit crew guys, the shop guys, or a little bit of everything. They just they work their tails off, and I'm glad that everything was able to work out in the end for us. And we'll go into Thompson guns blazing and then try and win this race.
Okay, now we've got Angela Bonsignor in the chat, says, and my parents. So I gather that she's adding to your list of people who help make it happen there, Justin.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't forget my mom and my dad.
Probably wouldn't be wise to do that, no. And
never would have got to the position we're in today, like many racers, without the support of your parents growing up and going through the go-kart days and the days of owning the family-owned modified and Charger cars, and getting me to where we are today. Very important. So I guess I dropped the ball on thanking my mom there.
Well, that's okay, because Angela saved you. You're welcome. You owe her a steak. We're going to hold you, if you don't mind. We got some more questions for you, so stick around. Those of you watching and listening, we'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders of motorsport safety, right after this.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show. Jacob bobbing up and down, doing a little bit of, I don't know what that was. Anyways, yeah, it's headbanging. Interesting that we continue our conversation with someone who did a lot of headbanging to the competition in the NASCAR Whelen
Yeah,
Modified
he
Tour this year. Justin Bonsignor is with us. Jacob, you were talking to me. You gave me a stat during the break that just blew my mind.
Yeah, and I'll be curious, Justin, if you even stopped and thought about this before I bring it up here, because I was looking back at some of the numbers from this year. Average starting position, 2.8. Average finish over 15 races, 3.5. You've scored a third of your wins this year and half your poles all in 1 year. I mean, okay, you've been in the top 3 in points the last 3 years, but good grief. At 30 years old, I'm still going to call this what it is. This seems like the ultimate breakout year for you on the tour this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we look at the points and you see the stats on the website, and we've been in awe of what we've been able to accomplish for sure. It's really tough, and this is a really hard series. So to be able to have those types of numbers, I don't look into it too much, but I am very proud of it and what my team has been able to put together, and it's just it's really cool. We struggled with qualifying for a bunch of years, and I used to take a lot of the flack for it. And every time we get a pole, I usually call me and my old crew chief Billy are good friends, and I rag on him a little bit and go, I guess it wasn't always me. So,
ouch!
It's just everything's clicking right now, and you don't know how long this ride is going to go. Hopefully, we can keep it going for a few years. It's really tough. I mean, you look at what Doug was able to accomplish the last 4 or 5, 6 years, really, and they've openly admitted they've maybe lost a little bit of speed, having to chase points over those years. So hopefully we can just continue to race hard and go for wins and not really have to do that type of stuff. But it's going to take a lot of hard work to stay on top, even for another year. But I'm excited. I think the team's excited. We're ready to celebrate, but we're also excited for next year and what we can do to come out and try and defend this championship.
You told me at Bristol that you're content with being a modified guy, that's kind of at this point what you've built yourself into and really kind of what New England is known for. Now, after about 9-10 years with Ken Massa, you've reached the pinnacle. What does that mean this year to have worked and worked and worked, and now as a New Englander to finally reach the ultimate height of what racing is up in that part of the country?
Well, I mean, some people probably take offense if you call me a New Englander. I'm a New Yorker.
Okay, you're a New Yorker. Sorry.
But no, we do
Case
race
in
New
point,
England.
you know what I mean.
See, I missed that, or I would have taken offense, because I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
Just not from the part of New York,
I'll amend my previous statement. You're still a modified guy.
I'm an Oswego boy, just so you know, Justin.
That's totally different. That's upstate New York.
That's Central New York, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, I mean, we worked at this for a long, long time, and, I kind of said it after Stafford. I'm just really appreciative of everything Ken and Janine have done for me over the years to stick behind me. There was times where, plenty of people were knocking down their phone, looking to get in this ride. And, after all the years of, winning a race and not really contending, and then, getting to that next level where we were contending but coming up short, through all that, they stuck behind me. And, even last year it was, a pretty rough year. We still had a shot at the championship just because of, Ryan missing some races and stuff. But, for them to stick behind me again and, really, if Ken kind of came to us at the end of last year and said, do you want to keep racing? Because, if you don't want to race, I don't want to race. So to hear that kind of, that meant a lot. And that makes this even more special because, he's gone through a lot in his business. He's been up and down in his business, and obviously, we're a pretty big team, but modified racing is still family owned and family run, and when your business isn't doing great, it's sometimes tough to say, hey, let's stick through this and keep going racing. Everybody knows this modified tour is not cheap to do, and we never skimped on anything throughout all those years, and even now things aren't as great as you probably want them to be. But, when Ryan calls and says, hey, we need this, and I think it's going to be what we need to win, Ken just goes get it, and I'm really happy that we're able to pull this off for him, for my team. Really more than myself, I'm just really happy for all of them, and I get to have all the glory and all the fun and do all this cool stuff, but I'm really happy for all of my guys, and especially Ken and Janine and his whole family, and Mark and Marie from Phoenix, the same thing. They stuck behind us through some tough stuff, and for them to do that and to I hate to say reward them, but to go out and have the year we had this year, it just it makes me really happy, and I like seeing that type of stuff. I like seeing my guys happy and celebrate. There's no cooler feeling than pulling into victory lane and seeing everybody jump up and down like they're 3 years old. That to me is what this is about.
Have you thought, speaking of all the celebrations and the glory that you get to put up with, have you thought about your speech yet? Because there's that's going to happen at the banquet in December, and we really probably ought to try and get you in the studio to sign our wall now. We've got the K&N champion's signature back here, so when you come into Charlotte, we need to get you to come sign our wall, too, while you're at it.
Sounds like a deal. I have some family in the area, so I could always make a trip over there. That'd be great. The speech is probably the thing I'm dreading the most. I can talk to you guys all night because I'm not looking at anybody besides my computer screen right now. But I am absolutely dreading the speech. I was never a public speaker in school. I've done some championship speeches in the past. I've done a lot, go-kart stuff as a kid and how to make speeches, but, I've been to these banquets, and these are, professionally done events with 1,000 people looking at you, and I am absolutely dreading it. I will not lie. So hopefully I incorporate some of my brutal sarcasm into it to break the ice, but I'm actually really dreading it. So it's going to be the worst part of the championship, I'm sure. But after it's over, I'll be like, all right, that was not so bad.
If you need some help, I've got quite a few years of working with people on speaking and helping them do all that. So shoot a call, and we'll.
All right, I'll write the speech, and you can present it. Thanks.
I don't know. Something about that I think would be just wrong, but okay. Look, so before we let you go, Joe Skippin's in the chat with us here, and he wants to know if you're going to be on your simulator after this.
I would love to go upstairs and play on my simulator and practice maybe for Thompson this weekend, but I can hear him upstairs at my house on my simulator tearing it up. So my crew and my family are all over this interview tonight, which is cool. Hopefully they enjoy it as much as I do. So I'll have to kick them off here and try and get some laps in at Thompson before the night's over.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Well, we appreciate it, Justin, and look forward. We're going to take you up on that appearance in the studio during Champions Week. So we'll look forward to that. So that's Justin Bonsignor, and we're going to step aside. We'll have, for those of you in here because of Justin and our conversations about modifieds, we're going to have more next week on the modifieds as well. We're trying to get Matt Swanson on the program, and who knows who else from the tour we might be able to scrounge up as well. So make sure you tune us back in next week for that. With that, we step aside. More of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport. Right after this, it's our lightning round. You will not want to miss this.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Kaz Gralla bringing us back from the break into our lightning round, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Just want to say a special thank you to another one of our partners here at Race Chaser Media, Race Chaser Radio, Performance Motorsports Network, Telmed Benefits. Hey, listen, if it's Friday afternoon and it's 5 o'clock and you're on the road somewhere with your young racer or just your family in general, and you suddenly find that someone is ill and needs some medical attention, I've got a solution for you that it could be much easier and even cheaper than going to the emergency room or urgent care. Check this out. Telmed Benefits, $19.95 a month, covers up to 5 people in your household. $20 a month for 5 people in the household. And here's the deal. If you become ill, you can talk to a doctor by phone or online video to get a diagnosis, treatment options, and even a prescription called into your local pharmacy where you are at that moment if medically necessary. Saves you time and money by avoiding crowded waiting rooms in the doctor's office, urgent care clinic, or ER. Just use your phone, computer, smartphone, or tablet to get a quick diagnosis by a U.S. licensed physician. I used this service when I had the flu earlier this year, and it was so much easier and faster than heading for urgent care or the emergency room. TelmedBenefits.com. TelmedBenefits.com. Make sure when it asks you for your special code, put in the name Tom, T-O-M, and you'll get coverage for $19.95 up to 5 people in the household, and you'll get a free discount pharmacy card just for visiting the site. And let me tell you, it's one of the top Telmed companies in the country, and it works very, very well. Telmed Benefits, thank you for being a part of our show as we go into our lightning round. And we haven't had an opportunity yet to talk about the K&M Pro Series East race, Jacob,
at Dover.
But Tyler Ankrum wrapping up the championship. The big story here to me, Ruben Garcia for Rev Racing.
Wins again.
Picking up his second win of the season.
This was huge, not only for Ruben, but in my eyes, this was huge for Rev Racing as a whole.
Yes.
Who has not had a good season as a team. In fact, I would argue Ruben is the lone bright spot for Rev Racing in what otherwise, no, don't send me hate mail, please. I'm just calling it like I see it. But for what otherwise has been a terrible season for Rev Racing. I mean, they've been pretty much off the radar, frankly, with the way it's been for much of the year, completely overshadowed by the dominance of DGR Crosley. And here comes Ruben and says, hey, don't forget about me. We still got some stuff
Exactly
to do.
what he said.
And he won at Dover just like Colin Cabry, a Rev Racing alum, did just 2 years ago. So yet again, second time in the last 3 years, as a matter of fact, that Rev has won the season-ending race.
But you know what the difference is here? When Colin won, that was a situation where they unloaded and raced. They had no practice, no qualifying because of weather. And this time we had
they
practice.
At least had practice.
We
and
had qualifying.
Yeah.
And Ruben still went out and ended
we had
up winning
the
the race.
But I think the big thing here is we had a green racetrack, which certainly I think contributed a lot to what we saw. And now here's the other big thing too. Stop and consider this. With that win, Ruben actually catapulted himself up to finish third in the championship.
Yes. Yeah.
1 point behind Tyler Dipple, who did not race at Dover in the finale, but Ruben overhauled Ronnie Bassett, edged him out by 2 points, edged Anthony Alfredo out by, I think, 9 points between third and fifth there at the end, so that was tight. But, you know, I think that's a really big deal right there to see a Rev car outdo. Obviously, the Bassetts have had a ton of experience running full-time the last few years, but to see them outrun Alfredo in an MDM car, and we know that MDM has the equipment and, you know, if it wasn't for bad luck, should have won probably 3 or 4 races this season. You know, to see Ruben be the guy to end up third behind the 2 DGR Crosley cars, I think says a lot of good things for Rev going into the future. I'm going to personally be really intrigued to see the results of what's going to be the 2019 Drive for Diversity class and see, because I wouldn't expect Ruben to be back. He's been in here a couple years now, and I would actually anticipate Dover being big for him to potentially take the next step and propel himself towards a National Series drive. I'd like to see him in a Truck Series ride, at least part-time next year, so I would hope this propels him. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest here. Chase Cabry's been in it 2 years now. I think you'd expect to see Ryan Vargas back and maybe Ernie Francis go full-time. Just got to wait and see there.
We'll see. And of course, Ryan, his best run, speaking of Ryan Vargas, finished in 7th. And had a nice run there.
He did very well.
6th in points for him this year. And so, the K&M Pro Series East now, then we had an ARCA race.
Oh, hey, hang on. Can I mention real quickly, by the way, that Brandon McReynolds followed up his win from one race ago with a second-place finish? I mean, for a part-time team, that 74 team that McReynolds has, the Visconti Motorsports team, to come out, win at Loudon, and go to Dover and run second. My God, can we get this kid a full-time ride in something, please? I mean, Brandon so has impressed me the second half of this year and has made the most of every opportunity he's had. I love it.
ARCA. This is what's interesting to me as we go from K&N to ARCA. Sam Mayer ran the K&N race for MDM Motorsports.
Yes.
And did very well. I think he finished 5th. Gets out of the car, hops in Dale Jr.'s plane, and flies over to Lucas Oil Raceway Park. That's Indianapolis Raceway Park, for those of you who haven't kept up with all the name changes. And jumps in the ARCA car and goes and runs the ARCA race and does well there. This kid, Sam Mayer, is turning into a wheelman.
Yes.
And I can't give anything away on the show, but I have an inkling of what his schedule is going to be like for next year. You're going to be hearing a lot about Sam Mayer because Sam is definitely, a talent, and he just gets in and drives. And there's not a lot of flash. He just gets in and drives.
And drives fast.
Yeah. Very, very adaptable. Definitely running very well. And congratulations to Sam Mayer on what I would call a successful double. And just to follow up on the point about Anthony Alfredo, there will be an announcement tomorrow. Anthony is continuing his season, so look for an announcement tomorrow about what Anthony Alfredo is doing. He's not quite ready to hang up the helmet yet. And, oh, by the way, we're trying to get Anthony in here next Monday, so hopefully he will be able to join us. So, again, ARCA, Sheldon Creed, still kind of the story, but you know what? Christian Eckes. Just, it's been an MDM Venturini kind of year.
Yes.
If one doesn't win, the other does.
Yes, except for 2 races.
Yeah.
Dose. Gustine won one, and Joe Graff
won the other one, but I just it's unbelievable to me. But I got to tell you, it is definitely going to be interesting to see where Christian Eckes' career goes after this year, because boy, he just did a heck of a job, dominated the race, picked up the win. Sheldon Creed, pretty much, I think we can safely say, with one race to go, that Sheldon Creed is your 2018.
Yeah, as soon as he turns a lap of practice at Kansas, it's over.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly. So it's going to be very interesting to see, again, Sheldon going to be full-time in the Truck Series next year, we expect.
Yes.
We'll look forward to bigger things from him, but I got to tell you, coming out of that race, to me, Christian Eckes was the story. Christian going to be in here in this studio for our Motorsports Madness show on Thursday night this week.
That's going to be exciting,
yeah,
too.
It'll be fun to have Christian back in.
He's going to run, actually, 2 of the final 4 Truck Series races. He's going to be running Martinsville, and I believe he's also going to be running Phoenix there in the penultimate round of the playoffs as well, which obviously is going to be really, really huge for Christian, because he is coming up. He's not there yet, but he is coming up on his 18th birthday, and I think that's going to be actually, no, I take that back. He's going to, he'll turn 18 in November 10th, so he would, wow. Okay, this makes me feel really old, because I thought Christian still had another year. He would be eligible to run a full Truck Series schedule starting February, and I think that right there could be really, really big, and it makes the potential lineup, doesn't it, next year for KBM really, really interesting.
Well, and really, really crowded.
Yeah, when you consider that Gilliland, you believe Gilliland will be back for a full year. Harrison Burton, we expect to run a full year at KBM next year. And Eckes, old enough to run full-time now, too. There could be your 3 full-time KBM trucks with a 4th truck part-time for extra races.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Toyota Young Guns, because a lot of things, I think, to be announced very soon, I would suspect. Christian will be back in the truck at Martinsville, I believe.
I believe. I said that a minute ago.
Okay.
That's confirmed.
I missed that part of it.
Martinsville
Okay.
and Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
I believe that's what I remembered that
Yes.
Tom Venturini told me earlier.
Yep,
With
Martinsville
that,
and Phoenix.
We sort of close up the ARCA file for just a little bit. We've still got one race at Kansas to do, but pretty much we know that Sheldon Creed, unless somebody locks him in a closet somewhere, Sheldon Creed is going to go and start that race and become the champion, well-deserved champion for the ARCA Series.
And then he's going to go run 4 truck races.
Yeah, he's going to run the next 4 truck races after that, starting at Martinsville. Lots of stuff going on
lot of things.
with Sheldon Creed, and looking forward to big things from him in the future. Okay, real quick, while we've got about a minute, which is not nearly enough time to talk Super Dirt Week, but
congratulations, Larry White.
Yeah,
wow.
Huge win for Larry White at the Oswego Speedway in the Super Dirt Car Big Blocks. All of Super Dirt Weekend, outstanding racing, And Dirt Car has announced that
Yes.
there will be three additional
more
years, at least.
3
of
more years.
Super Dirt
3
Week.
more years.
Yes, at the Oswego Speedway. And I couldn't be happier. I think it's a great opportunity with
I
that.
love it.
Close us up, Jacob.
Well,
we're done.
yeah, I wish we had another hour. But
Me too.
Thanks to, obviously, our partners, HMS Motorsport, Telemed Benefits, as well as Bob Steele, Sue Mason with PMN, and Randy Miller behind the glass, producing, punching buttons, and making stuff happen for us here tonight on this program. So for Tom Baker and Cisco Scaramuza, I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding you to keep it off the wall, folks. And hey, if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, well, if you keep a good lookout and maybe pay attention, you might just see us there. Have a safe racing weekend, folks.
Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. The Stock Car Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Stock Car Show returns on Thursday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.